Hello, everybody. Before we get started with the following episode, I want to give a little disclaimer. And this is going to be the same disclaimer for a couple episodes because this is our first time doing a podcast. So we're not entirely familiar with the settings and how it should run and all that yet. We're still learning. To prepare for the show, I obviously had to purchase a couple extra mics. And these mics I found were quite affordable and actually pretty sturdy. They're not too big and all that. But my point is, I don't know the settings. I should have read the instruction manual before actually using them. And I didn't realize I had the echo filter turned on for all the mics. I bought 3 of them. And all of them I forgot to turn off the echo filter. So the next few episodes, I recorded them with the boys with the echo filter on. So you will hear a little bit of echo coming from the audio. And obviously a podcast is very much based on audio, so I can't do anything to remove it other than to re-record it. Which obviously at this point in time, it's far too late. I'm just gonna have to suck it up and make do with the echoey audio. And we were sitting in a pretty big room anyways. We're trying to get some soundproof boards to filter out the sound. So I sincerely apologize to anyone when you're listening to the episode and you just hear echoing. It's not that bad. It just sounds like we're in a big room or in a cave or something. It's not big echo. It just has a lot of reverb to it. So any episode that was affected, you will hear this disclaimer. So that's how you'll know. Anyways, that's it for me now. Enjoy the episode with a little bit of reverb. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast with Mark45. Today we have yet another movie review. And we're going to be talking about the DCEU's final film before James Gunn takes over and starts his new DC universe. And this is the sequel to, I think, DC's only ever successful film, or like $1 billion film, Aquaman and The Lost Kingdom. A bit of a controversial film too. Not that it was Jason Momoa's fault. It was actually another actor who's in this movie. Unlike The Flash, whose main star is facing a ton of felonies, but that's over now. We're talking about this movie. And I don't know. I don't know what to say about it, but I do want to give some thoughts. On this last entry to the DCEU, and obviously we have some of the Funko Pops on there. Obviously I didn't get everything, especially Mira. You guys know why. I don't need to explain. And we will also be talking about just our thoughts on this movie as a whole and compared to the first movie. Is it as good? Is it worse? Or is it, just about the same level? That will all be answered in today's episode. So, without further ado, let's talk about some non-spoiler stuff, and then we have some of the spoilers, and then we'll get into the Funko Pops. It's always the same formats when it comes to these now. So, let's get started with the non-spoilers.
First of all, this movie is very controversial for multiple reasons. Mostly, Mara, aka Amber Heard. If you haven't heard, that was not intended. That's a bad pun. She has been a lot of controversy recently. Not that recent. It was a while back, but yeah, a lot of stuff going on. So yeah.
There was a petition. I think the internet made a petition to have Warner Brothers remove her from the film. I think they got like 2 million signings.
Yeah.
Guess it was for nothing. I guess it didn't work.
DC doesn't care, clearly, because they kept Flash in, Ezra Miller. So
Marvel, on the other hand, was very quick with that. They fired Jonathan Majors on the dot the second he was convicted.
So in a way it's good that they don't listen to public opinion for movies, because sometimes you want to keep an actor in. Sometimes it's okay to keep. Well, it's not necessarily okay, but like, it's better for the movie itself if you cut off the social ties and don't listen to public opinion, because sometimes it can lead to better movies. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, keeping them in is going to stir controversy and potentially lower your box office revenue, because people don't want to support these types of people because they're in the wrong
I feel bad for Jason Momoa though. Like he's a great guy, and he clearly put his all in this film. But just because of another character, another actor, has hurt the reputation of this movie.
Two different approaches, because Marvel likes to kick people out pretty fast, and DC seems to not care. Probably maybe because they just don't want to bother changing characters. They don't have the budget, or
Well, they're getting ready for a reboot soon, so.
Also,
this is the last movie.
Don't want to put effort in before restarting the whole thing.
Amber's screen time is, I think, a total of 20 minutes. 20 minutes, and she says a total of 11 lines. So they really cut down on her part. They minimize it a lot, but I guess to some people, 20 minutes is still way too much. But I think for me personally, I tend to separate the character from the actor. In the moment watching the movie, I just think of what they're doing in the movie as that character, not what their outside life is like. So it's sometimes good to separate, character and actor. But obviously, when you look at the character, like, yeah, it's unless they have like a CGI complete appearance, it's hard to not like associate it back to, oh yeah, right, she was in this whole trial thing, and she was doing a bunch of bad stuff. So it's like, I get what people, I understand it from both points of view. That's what I'm saying. But I just don't want to think about that kind of stuff when I'm watching a movie.
Septus, what do you think?
I agree.
Oh my god.
The movie was okay. Yeah.
Like let's just not let Amber Heard's presence ruin the movie experience. Like, what do you think of the movie as a whole, the story and all that?
There was some scenes, or there was one scene in particular that I thought it was kind of forced, but.
Well, we can talk about that in spoilers, I guess.
It's just very predictable. Everything that happens is super predictable. You're like, this happens, oh, this is setting up, oh. And then you can... I just kind of just ended up knowing what's going to happen because the plot just set up that way. Like, I know this character is going to do this. This character is going to become good or become evil. It's just too predictable. Maybe it's, I don't know, we've been watching too many superhero films. They all follow the same formula.
You've seen the first movie, so let's do a comparison between this and the first movie.
I don't remember the first movie too well, but I think it was better.
That first movie made $1 billion. It was very successful.
Also, there was no controversy, so...
Also, there is no large-scale battle in this movie. In the first movie, there's a huge Lord of the Rings Endgame style army-to-army battle.
There was a little bit, but it was mostly a bunch of grunts. Just like a bunch of weaklings versus like 5 very strong people or something like that.
Yeah, for this one, yeah. For this movie, yeah.
And
there was a few normal Atlantean soldiers, but it was mostly made of like main characters.
It's kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
And then in the end, I can't specify because spoilers, but there was looking like there was going to be a big final battle, but then it got cut short.
It got really short. The test screening for this movie had people walking out of the theaters when they were testing out this movie with a test audience. There was people leaving the theater.
Did they pay for it, or they just?
It was a free screening. Because there's also it's a test screen, so obviously the movie there's all scenes not there yet. There's all unfinished stuff too. Basically they were showing a rough draft of the movie.
I don't know what the rough test screening looks like. If they looked very different or like only a little different.
Apparently, box office wise, this has beaten the Marvels in terms of the poorest superhero movie that was this year. This has beaten the Marvels.
So it's lower.
No, this is higher than the Marvels.
Okay.
The Marvels had it worse.
That's surprising, honestly. Marvels is better.
You think? Okay.
I think Marvels is better.
But
He's gonna disagree.
No, I disagree.
Really?
Marvels is slightly better. I think it's
I
better.
don't really like the Marvel.
But it's still both of them are still higher than the Flash. Flash is an all-time low big bomb. Flash did get a bit confused, it was not confused. It was just hard to keep up at the end, especially with all the whole multiversal sequence. it was kind of and a really poor CGI, but
Maybe I guess, but like overall,
this movie was easy to keep up. Yeah, this was quite easy to keep up with. Jason Momoa and Patrick Wilson, they take the helm of the movie, obviously. So, I guess Orm kind of replaced Mira's role, because in the first movie, Mira was kind of, like, he was going with Aquaman throughout his whole journey. So in this movie, Orm took that role. And obviously he goes on this whole redemption arc from, who was the first antagonist. He actually got to get a brotherly bond with Arthur Curry. And then they were able to, well, it's a cliche, but they were able to make it work at the end. It was happy. They live happily ever after. I know it's a little bit of a spoiler, but not exactly. I'm not really going into details. But the pacing, the pacing is also very quick, and then in the middle it slowed down, and then it started to pick up the pace again. So there was no slow scenes enough to make you fall asleep. It was just like, all right, gets you right in the action, blah 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 blah, and then it slowly slows down a little bit, a couple slow scenes, and then it accelerates again all the way to the very end. But overall, I personally think the first movie was a lot better, but this isn't bad. It's not as bad as, I guess, a lot of people's expectations going into this movie was, this is gonna be a horrible movie. And I guess for some people that's the case. But for me, it was actually not as bad. It was not that bad. I think the first movie was better, but this is okay. It's a okay sequel to follow up the first movie.
it's not bad, but I think compared to the other two, to the other two flop superhero movies, which is Marvel's and Flash, I think this ranks like slightly below them. Say, it's like close to the Flash, similar, but I like the Flash slightly better because of the plot was more interesting.
I actually kind of wish this movie would do a lot better. Like I had hopes for this movie. I think if they had a different actor playing Mira instead of Amber Heard, I feel like this movie could have been, it had a little bit of a better reputation. Because I've seen some people be like, yeah, I'm not paying a single cent to watch this movie, or I'm not going to watch it even if it's free, just because of her. And I just feel bad. It's Jason Momoa's film. It's not about her. It's about Jason Momoa, and he's a great guy. He's a great actor. Like he's the opposite of Ezra Miller. I think a lot of people really love him. So.
Mm-hmm. I think the movie itself the actors are fine. Just I don't like the plot. It's too cliche and predictable.
Well, what do you think of Jason Momoa's performance then? I guess him and Patrick Wilson as Orm, because they are mostly, they take up most of the movie screen time.
They're fine, but cliche lines. There's a couple cliche lines in there that are just like, who did this writing? I don't know. The writers.
Apparently, Jason Momoa was one of the writers. He wrote parts of the story.
Well, I'm just gonna say, I don't think he's a good writer because I don't
should stick to just acting.
His acting's fine, but his writing, I don't know which part he wrote, so I can't tell for sure. But the writing overall for this movie is just subpar.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, the villain is no one new. It's Black Manta, or Black Manta.
Are we getting the spoiler territory though?
No, people know he's the villain
from the trailer.
Yeah.
So
I guess he was okay because he had a smaller role from the first movie. The first movie was kind of setting up his villain arc, and then obviously he took the villain because obviously the first movie was about Orm being the villain. This movie took the spotlight for Manta. Manta, I don't even know. Manta, I don't know. Black Manta took the helm of being the main antagonist for this movie.
Mm-hmm. Technically, he's not the main true villain, but that's spoilers.
Yeah.
That part's spoilers.
Yeah. Out of 10. What do you rate this movie? Don't think about the box office performance. Just think of the quality of the movie.
6.
6 out of 10?
5.5.
5.5. I'd say I give this a 6 out of 10 as well. Definitely not the strongest in the DCEU, but it's not a bad one either. If I had to pick between this one and The Flash, I honestly think I'd watch this one.
I would prefer The Flash. I think. But yeah, for the Flash, this is not the right video to say this, but get rid of that CGI scene. And
the CGI was actually good for this movie. It's like because I think that they use the same techniques from the first movie.
Probably yeah, because I didn't really notice the CGI too much. So
especially when they're underwater. Yeah, like you just see like their hair is like flowing, but that was about it. Pretty sure they had to do that CGI unless they had some fan just blowing blowing their hair. One of my favorite things about this movie is definitely Rendo Park. You may know him as Jimmy Woo from Ant-Man and the Wasp or WandaVision. He is that SHIELD agent. He plays a doctor in this movie. So nice to see him. He's in both superhero universes. I think for me he was the highlight. He was the highlight of the movie.
Pretty good, but predictable.
Yeah,
but that's the result of writing. It's just his plot line is super predictable.
Like he had more screen time than Amber Heard, which is quite funny.
He's kind of this important character, but does his name ever get mentioned in the movie?
This is kind of spoilers, but like he does these recordings.
Yeah. Oh, he says his name in them.
Yeah.
Okay, that I do not remember, but
His name's right here, Dr. Shin.
I just don't remember his name. I was like, throughout the movie, I was looking.
No one addresses him by his name.
When I was watching the movie, I was like, Jimmy Woo. That was literally my name. Woo, that's what name is his head because I don't know. It's like the doctor. I was like, I don't know what his name is.
But I think that's it for non-spoilers. Do you have anything else to add?
Okay movie.
It's an okay movie. Okay, let's end off with this. Do you think this is a solid, hurrah, final movie to the DCEU?
The movie could have been better, but
How so?
like the writing.
The writing, so that's like a proper send-off to this universe.
No, this is not a good ending movie. This is a transition. It's like, you put this as the second movie, and then you have a big finisher for Aquaman, but I guess they're not doing that. It's very transitional. It's like, is it the fact that he had a kid in the trailer?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, he has a kid, and then you would maybe have a final movie where the kid's growing up and actually like doing something more interesting than being a baby. So
we can actually have a proper trilogy, at least for one of their characters.
This is definitely, it feels like a second movie in a trilogy. So not a good finisher. The movie itself is like very mid, but it's okay. It's not horrible. But, you know.
I feel they could have done, if they maybe did a third movie as like a big grand finale, that I think it would be more conclusive there. It would be more conclusive. And then they're like, all right, everyone's satisfied. Let's get ready for the new universe. Just like that. But unfortunately, their releases are a bit messy. A little bit messy. I do hope James Gunn decides to keep Jason Momoa for the new universe, for the reboot. I see he works as Aquaman, and I think they should not fire him like they did with Henry Cavill with Superman.
Did they fire him or did he leave? Or just replace him?
They were replacing him with someone else, and the internet exploded with that news. But that remains to be seen. So that is the non-spoiler section. Let's move on to spoilers now after this commercial break. I guess I'll start. And it's about Amber Heard. Or sorry, Mira, her character. I was kind of expecting this movie, like, they kept her in. Alright, sure. It would be just kind of awkward having her killed off screen. I thought they were going to kill her off in this movie. They're going to show us how she died. And there was one scene where it looked like that was the case. When Black Manta and his crew decided to raid the Orichalcum Orichalcum Vault.
Orichalcum Vault, but it's near
Atlantis. It's near Atlantis. So it alerted the Atlantean army thanks to the Septopus, and Mira and Queen Atlantia they pursued them with a patrol of mechanical sharks, and Mira gets. I think she was able to catch up to him. She was fully locked in trying to stop Black Manta, and she does all her like water power things, trying to like slow him down. And she gets to she actually gets to Black Manta's sub. She proceeds to break the window open to like get him. He puts on the helmet. You can literally hear him in the background. You hear him say, "Oh shit!" as she's breaking the glass, and he puts on his helmet and just fries her with the beam. Mm-hmm. Absolutely fries her. And I think it also destroyed a couple of the mechanical sharks along the way. At that point, I was like, well, that's how they're going to kill her off. And then it also showed and then it later showed her in a medic room, a hospital room. I don't know what they call it in Atlantis. She was recovering, or it looked like she was on her deathbed. And then fast forward a little bit later to the movie. There's another fight between Aquaman and Black Manta. Aquaman gets stuck. Guess who's back? Mira comes back and saves him, and she's completely fine now. So yeah, I thought at that point that chase scene, Black Manta killed her.
Okay, well, there's the Amber Heard rant. Well, my guess is they already filmed everything, right? And then she shows up in the final fight scene where they're trying to save. Okay, now the final fight is basically
rescuing the
baby because Black Manta is okay, and then also Black Manta is being possessed by the King of Necros, which I forgot the name of. Basically, some guy who's supposed to be the Seventh Kingdom, which is the name of the movie, The Lost Kingdom, which is the Seventh Kingdom of Necros, Necros.
Yeah, I think that's
Necros. Yeah, and so they're trying to free him because he found the trident, which is basically possessing him. He's getting possessed by a trident. So, if you want to be really technical, the true villain is the King of Necros, which has a name, but I forgot. They're trying to they need the baby to unseal Necros. So
because he's part of the royal bloodline from King Atlantis himself.
Yeah. So that's why that's what the end. And then Mira has to save the baby, and she was also in the final fight scene. That's my guess why they didn't kill her off, because she's already in those scenes. They don't want to reshoot it.
That's true.
And this is the last movie supposedly in the this current universe, so they're rebooting it, so no need to kill her off. That's my guess.
That's true, yeah.
They just cut her lines down.
I guess that's probably the main reason why they're like, screw it, we'll just keep her in the movie.
And also, speaking of...
Pretty sure they filmed this way before her trial. So, they probably didn't even know this was going to happen. This really feels like a mixture of Black Panther and Iron Man. At the end of the scene, I'm going to skip to the end because I actually kind of want to talk about it. Where Arthur decides it is time to reveal Atlantis to the world. And that's exactly what happens at the end of Black Panther, where they're like, let's reveal Wakanda to the world.
Yeah, I wonder where they got that idea from.
So he addresses, he goes to the UN General Assembly, and the world is obviously craving about this news that, oh my god, Atlantis is real, blah, blah, blah. And they go to the General Assembly in New York. I'm surprised they didn't go into the actual UN building. They just did it at some park outside.
It was out of their budget.
Yeah, so he goes on to give this speech like, my name is Arthur, I'm the king of Atlantis, blah, blah, blah. I'm surprised they brought the brine king, the crab guy, as one of the representatives.
If I saw a big crab with his claw cut off, that kind of freak you out, right?
Exactly. But he was giving his whole speech. He's like, basically proposing to the UN that Atlantis wants to collaborate with the scientists of the surface world to combat global warming, which was the main threat to this movie, which is global warming because of the orichalcum. Yeah. And as he was giving his speech, there was a montage sequence, of him and his family living. Like their house got rebuilt quite quickly after it was set on fire. It's like they just hired some construction company.
It's literally the king of Atlantis. Like he has a lot of power.
So yeah, their house got rebuilt quite quickly. There's a shot of him and Mira and the baby and Queen Atlantia and I don't remember the dad's name, Timur Morrison. I'm just gonna call him by his actor, as they're just celebrating, and that's where the dance scene was. And then I also said it was a mixture of Iron Man as well, because you know the iconic "I am Iron Man" scene that started the MCU. He did that at the very end. He's like, "I am Aquaman," and he just did a mic drop, and that was it. It was kind of like a lame attempt at copying it.
Yeah. The speech part was questionable, but I get the idea.
Yeah.
Like, the idea is fine, but
Like revealing your secret nation to the world, like that has been done before, as we saw from Black Panther. No, but no, it's I think it's fine because like yeah, it works. Atlantis is clearly an advanced civilization. They have the technology, and they can help collaborate to combat global warming.
makes sense, but it is predictable because it was literally hinted at the beginning of the movie.
That he wants to
Yeah.
reveal themselves to the world.
Yeah, so yeah, like I said earlier in the non-spoiler part, plot of the movie is super predictable. So that is one of them. You could just kind of expect. I just expected that it would have happened.
Mira's dad, like the other king of that other kingdom, he had a complete U-turn on Orm because in the first movie they were allies. They were allies most of the time, and in this movie he just completely hates Orm.
No, they weren't. Were they allies?
In the first movie they were. Their armies fought together.
Didn't he not like him because he? Wait, why doesn't? I thought Orm is trying to attack Atlantis in the first movie.
Oh no, okay, so in the first movie, Orm basically manipulated all of Atlantis, that he was their savior and he was their true king. So he tried to unite all the armies, all the kingdoms together, so he could be deemed as Ocean Master.
Okay, so he's trying to manipulate them. That's why they were on the side.
Yeah, so Mira's dad, he fell for the manipulation and he became allies with Orm. This movie, he just completely hates Orm. He just hates him. There was so much tension between
There was a part where the dad was dying, he's off a cliff, and then Orm is like, he's like, help me. And then Orm kind of like slides away. And then you're like, it's trying to make you think he's not going to help him. And then he comes around and helps him,
and then he gives him an actual gun instead of just an axe.
which is, yeah, I was thinking he was going to say something. He's just like, handing him the axe.
Just like I'm not approved. Like, okay, I guess we're cool now. So, okay, back to the first movie. The big battle sequence was actually between the Brine King's army, all the crab people, and the rest of Atlantis. Because in the lore, the Brine is the strongest kingdom ever. Like, their army is so strong. That's why Orm needed all the other armies to fight him, or they wouldn't stand a chance. They needed a combined force. Because obviously, you're a human trying to fight a huge crab. Obviously, you're not gonna. Obviously,
To be fair, his claw keeps getting cut off.
That's true, but that's just the general. That's just the king. They're like this huge lobsters and huge crabs, like crustaceous creatures that can actually, like, one pinch of their claws, you're cut in half. So I can see why Orm in the first movie needed the rest of Atlantis to combat them, because they're also very like. They're not that easily manipulated. They're not just gonna submit to him and just say, "All right, we'll call you king." Like, they will put up a fight. They rather die in battle instead of being like manipulated. So they're right tough people. And then I guess in this movie, it seems like the Brine army has completely died off. It was just the general and a couple soldiers. That was it. Like 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah. Well, I guess. Too expensive. It's out of their budget.
It's too expensive, the CGI, to make a bunch of crap like people. And I'm surprised he actually had a lot to say in this movie. He was the comedy guy. Like, he was the laughing. What's the term called again? Comedic relief. He was the comedic relief. He had a lot of funny lines he was saying.
That was the octopus.
Oh, the octopus too.
Octopus is silent comedic relief.
Yes, he doesn't say anything. The Brine King was actually like, he was like,
splashes water on people. That's all.
Yeah. The Brine King in this movie was like when Arthur's like, keep your eyes open. There's people here. He's like, well, that's easy. Mine don't close. Like, he's there to make you laugh. And then he obviously his arm gets cut off again, and he's like complaining about it at the end. Yeah. And so also I think he and his men were holding back the shadow people when they were fighting through the Lost Kingdom. He tells Arthur, like, just go get your kid, we'll hold them off. And then he and his crabmen were like, yeah, we'll fight him. Just made like a last stand. I guess he was the only survivor because when they all met up at the iceberg, only he came back out.
They all turned into crab rolls.
Yeah. Also, I think also for Orm himself, I think he was written pretty well. He had his whole redemption arc going on throughout the whole movie, and at the end, he was basically given freedom, provided he just had to lay low. And there was a shot at the end where he's at like some like restaurant at New York. Was it New York?
I don't know, but he was eating a burger.
He was eating a burger, and then it led to a reoccurring gig again with the post-credit scene. There was only one post-credit scene in this movie, and the very last scene of the DCEU was a shot of Orm putting a cockroach into a hamburger and taking a bite out of it, and that's how the universe ends.
Yeah, I don't know why. In the middle of the movie, Aquaman tells Orm to eat this cockroach because he doesn't know what human food is.
Yeah, so he took the opportunity to pull a prank on him, pretty much.
I think cockroach is a thing people eat, but I think they don't eat them live. I think they cook them first.
Yeah, it's a bunch of viruses and stuff on them.
Yeah, so I think it is a thing in certain countries, but I don't think they eat them.
Well, in the post-credits, he sees the cockroach. He just takes it, puts it in his burger, I think right where the patty was, and he's like, and just takes a bite of it. And, and he's like, this is good.
The crunch sound just makes it so much worse.
Exactly. But yeah, no, that was the only weird part. But I think he actually he was written really well. At the end, it looked like he was actually trying to like save everyone. He wasn't thinking for himself. And in the end, I guess he and Arthur were actually able to address each other as brothers. Like they have a good relationship.
Okay. Sandus, do you have anything?
I don't know. Like,
you said there was a scene that felt forced.
well, yeah, that was like the old guy was on the cliff.
Oh, the one he has to save him? Yeah. Oh.
I don't like. It was like predictable that he was gonna save him because you need some character development.
But they had tension going on.
Yeah.
I guess. You're predictable what's gonna happen. Yeah, I guess. That scene was predictable. The part that a little bit less predictable is that they made it look like he was gonna leave.
Just leave him to die, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wait, is he gonna leave? And then he comes back. Because I thought he was gonna save him, but then they made him look like... So that one a little bit, but I don't know why they did. I guess it just...
Also, Black Manta's helmet looks kind of weird.
It's a lot smaller. He had a much bigger helmet in the first movie.
No. It's kind of like Mysterio with the fishbowl helmet.
Let's talk about Black Manta. That's a good transition. Let's talk about Black Manta. So, I don't know about him. His story isn't strong enough. It was just his dad died by the hands of Aquaman, so he's out for revenge.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really show in this movie that he had that passion that he really wants to get revenge on Aquaman.
No.
Well, they showed his dad getting killed by Aquaman.
There's a little.
It's reused footage from the first movie.
Yeah. There is some. You can see there's the motive. It's just that it's taken over by the Trident. The Trident's basically taking him over. So
yeah, by the Necro King or whatever he's called. Yeah. Okay, one scene I didn't like. The actual final confrontation between Aquaman and the Necro King. He's like, I'm alive! I have waited centuries for this moment. 5 minutes later, Trident stabs him in the face and he's dead. And I think Orm throws... No, it was Aquaman. He throws the Black Trident at him. He catches it. Alright, cool. He made the weapon after all, so it makes sense. He knows how to control it. But then he takes his own trident right after, yeets it, and precisely cuts right through the Black Trident, that thin piece of Black Trident, straight through him and kills the king. Not even a fight. There was no fight.
He just caught the Black Trident for some reason, and then he died.
Exactly. I didn't like that scene at all. He goes on his whole speech like, I've waited centuries for this moment. Dead.
Yeah, if the king of Necros is just gonna die like that, then was he really a king?
Exactly. Was he really a king? And remember, it was explained in the backstory. He was the brother of the King Atlantis himself. Yeah. So he's supposed to be quite powerful.
You know, it just Aquaman just chants something in gibberish and throws a trident.
He had the loyalty and the Riptide enchantment on on the trident.
Impaling 5.
Yeah, so it just breaks through the black trident. But there is a proper trident 1v1 fight between him and Black Manta. That was pretty good choreography. That was a pretty good fight. But then the fight after was not good.
That was not a fight. They just wanted to. Yeah. Oh yeah, and then Orm was holding the thing, and then it looked like he was, and then the Necros King is about to possess him, and then they have like this little tug of war
with the black trident, yeah.
Yeah, and then brothership prevails. Something. Yeah, that part's a little bit questionable.
Yeah, like the final sequence, the final confrontation, which was a bit off.
Okay, and then also the baby. Well, let's talk about Doctor. Let's talk about Dr. Shin first.
Dr. Shin, yes.
So his plot line is very predictable.
He was not in the first movie. This is a new character for this movie.
Yeah. So his plot line is basically bad guy turned good. He was working for Black Manta because he wanted to.
So he's kind of like Orm, bad guy turned good.
But he's not. He doesn't have bad intentions ever.
That's true.
So he's unknowingly bad turned into willingly good. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. He just wants to see Atlantis with his own eyes because he's a scientist. He wants to, make stuff, see old technology, I guess. But basically, he starts working for him. He wants to leave at like halfway through the movie, and then after you see him want to leave, you can just predict that he's just going to turn good. It's super predictable from that point on.
He tries to talk to Orman and Arthur at one point.
And also, he gets hit with an explosion, almost dies from the snake monster, almost dies from freezing in the cold.
And Black Manta electrocuted him when he tried to escape with the baby.
And he got electrocuted. And he's still alive and not that injured. I don't know. This guy
has plot armor. He has plot armor. The plot armor is strong with this one.
Basically, I was like, he throws him the baby and then turns into a bomb. I'm like, of course he's not going to give him the baby. He's good at this point. He's already...
Exactly. And he had a little assist. He throws the Aquaman's trident for him to fight Black Manta. So...
It's good. Like, good character development, but super predictable also.
Exactly.
And then, for the baby, we can talk about the baby now.
I honestly thought the baby was going to do more. Because in the beginning of the movie, it showed he was talking to the goldfish. So like, oh, okay. Like, maybe he'll have something similar too.
He has Aquaman powers.
Yeah, he has Aquaman powers. And then
only 1/4 Aquaman.
Exactly. But then it just turns out they needed him as an excuse for Black Manta to take. Because he was, part of the royal bloodline. So he needs the blood to free the Necro King. And I guess it really shows that Black Manta doesn't care at that point. Either it's that, or he's just so possessed he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah. Wait, is Mira part of the royal bloodline?
No.
But you said Mira's dad.
He's the king of like that other like kingdom, whatever that's called.
Do we ever see him?
Yeah, he was in the first movie.
It's the guy in this. Is he in this movie?
Yeah, he was in this movie. He almost died, and then Orm saves him. That whole scene.
That's Mira's dad. Yeah. What about who's Orm's dad? Do we know?
Orm's dad, I think, was King Atlantis.
And then Aquaman is
because remember, Atlantia had Orm with King Atlantis, and then she had Arthur with Timur Morrison's.
Does that constitute cheating?
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, that's why. That's exactly how it happened.
Yeah, the bloodline's really.
So Orm is actually technically more royal bloodline than Arthur.
So who are the people that had the royal bloodline? Orm, Aquaman, the baby, and I think there's one more.
Orm, Aquaman, baby, and her.
Oh, her. Yes.
Yeah. And Atlantia. Yeah.
Atlantia. Then who's the royal bloodline flow through? Her or King Atlantis?
I think it's King Atlantis because
she shouldn't be because she's a different family.
Because King Atlantis created the kingdom.
Yeah, but then she shouldn't have royal bloodline because unless they're doing incest, then it doesn't.
Oh yeah,
make
that's
sense.
true. Oh, a little bit
Then
of
she
a
shouldn't
little
have-
bit of a plot hole there.
Unless it was like within the family, then that's also questionable. But then she shouldn't have royal blood if King Atlantis is the
But yeah,
kid.
hold on. There's a little bit of a. I mean, to be fair, Mira isn't royal blood either.
Yeah.
She was the one who gave birth to the baby.
So the baby is 1/4 royal blood,
Yeah.
but 3/4 Atlantean,
Yeah.
and then
And Arthur is
1/4 human.
half human, half Atlantean, because
This is confusing.
yeah, because Timur Morrison is a human. He's not an Atlantean. I'd say the stakes weren't as high because yeah, like in the first movie, the stakes were Orm wants to unite all of Atlantis, become Ocean Master. This one, there wasn't really a clear sense of direction. We're more like they just want to free the Necro King. That was it. Everyone else didn't know that. Only Black Manta knew that he was trying to free. Yeah. And then eventually, when Orm touched the Black Trident, then he figured out.
Yeah, I think Dr. Shin also knew. There's a part in
because he also touched the Trident.
he touched a trident. Orm touched a trident. He got possessed very easily. I guess he has either.
Dr. Shin didn't get possessed at all.
He touched it. Yeah, only for a quick second.
Yeah.
Orm,
however, got it.
But why doesn't why doesn't Aquaman get possessed? Because he held it for quite a while.
I think because he's like royal bloodline, so he's like
Plot armor.
I guess plot armor. I don't know. Or
He's
he
royal
was more.
bloodline
I
too,
guess he
though.
was more resilient. He was more resilient.
Yeah. So I guess he just has weak willpower. He's just very tempted to betray him.
Pretty much. Yeah. And no, the only reason why he even got the Trident got him was because Black Manta threw the Black Trident at Mira, which would have not been a problem if it actually hit her. But anyways, Orm catches it to save her, and then that's how he gets affected.
Orm could have tackled her, get her out of the way.
Yeah, or he could have just tackled.
Yeah,
but then no, she was holding the baby. Could have hurt the baby.
She could have dodged it somehow, you know.
Or,
it seems like it could.
I mean, she has water power. She can just shoot water to try it and just send it away.
Yeah, throw the baby and then.
Okay, well, hold on. This isn't Ezra Miller. She's not putting him in the microwave, so relax. Okay. Is there anything else? I think we've covered pretty much all of it. My favorite characters were definitely Dr. Shin and the Brine King. Brine King was, I think he was pretty funny.
Yeah, one more thing. At the end, Mara kisses Dr. Shin.
Oh yeah, that was weird too.
Very random.
That was also very random.
I guess.
Okay. I want to say this movie was very, very flashback heavy. Like the whole opening scene started with Arthur narrating his life story to the baby, and then it looked like there was a pretty cool scene where it looked like, oh damn, he's gonna fight a bunch of pirates. But the second they clashed, it turns out it was just him bashing their action figures together. No budget at all. It's like, we're about to see a cool fight scene between him and some pirates, but nope. It was kind of corny. Like we've seen that so many times in superhero movies. Like superhero explains his backstory over some epic rock music.
Yeah.
And then I say it's flashback heavy because they use a lot of old footage from the first movie, and when they want to tell you that it's a flashback, they let you know very explicitly it's a flashback by playing the full clip of the reused footage. So yeah, overall, I feel like there's a lot of hit or misses for this movie. There's a lot of misses, but there was a lot of points where it actually hit pretty well. And yeah, like honestly, maybe the Brine King needs his own movie. He was pretty funny. He needs his own movie and his own spin-off movie.
Maybe probably not a movie, just series.
Yeah, because it shows his kingdom is the strongest. So why don't we have a little show elaborating on his kingdom? Why it's the strongest.
The Crab Man.
Exactly. Yeah.
The brine people.
And fun fact: the actor who voices him is the same guy who voices Admiral Akbar.
It's a trap.
Yeah. So, I honestly wouldn't mind seeing that. I wouldn't mind seeing that at all. So, I guess we can also talk about the desert sequence. That's a whole story right there.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you think of the desert sequence?
It's one of the better scenes in the movie.
So he breaks Orm out of prison. Yeah. So the context is Atlantis cannot extract him from prison because they have a peace treaty between the Desert Kingdom and Atlantis. So if they they send an army to get him out, it would be seen like as an act of war. Yeah. So that's why Arthur went in by himself with his stealth suit and the octopus, or sorry, septopus.
Yeah. Also, is it just me, or does Orm look very different with long hair?
He looked like Castaway. I don't know. I think he did mention Castaway as a joke. He's like, "Come on, Castaway, let's go."
Yeah. He looks nothing like his. When he cuts his hair short back to normal, it looks so different from his long hair. I was like, "Who's this guy? I don't think we've seen him before." Who's this?
Yeah, and well, he was very. It shows also he was very. Atlanteans need water to get their strength. They need their strength comes from the water. So on the desert, he was super weak. He can't do anything. But the second he got in the water and it covered him, he went from the skinny guy to this jacked, ripped guy.
Very accurate.
Yeah, and just started wrecking. Wrecking the desert people.
His muscles are filled with water, apparently.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a good scene after all. It's because obviously in the beginning he was like, "I'm gonna break. We need Orm," and then everyone was opposed to the idea, but eventually they obliged. And then Mira's dad went on the whole like the epic sidekick scientist to the main hero, providing him all the gadgets. Like, this is what you need for the fight. You'll need this to survive this environment. Like, yeah, Santos, anything else you want to say? It's just be me and Brandon talking this whole time.
I wouldn't watch this again. It's okay.
What do you think about Storm?
Oh yeah, Funko made 2 pops of Storm, yet he contributed little to nothing in this movie. But yeah, speaking of, I guess since you brought up the Funko Pops, this is a great transition into Funko Pops. Let's get right to it. Right, it is time to talk about Funko Pops. As you can see, they've pops up in front of us this entire shoot, and it's not complete. It is not complete. There are some characters I'm missing. For example, the 2 common Aquamans. I don't have them because I have the exclusive, so I was like, do I need 10,000 Jason Momoas in my collection?
Yes, you do.
I think 2 is enough. So, and obviously, I don't have Dr. Shin, although I would like to get him if I see him. And obviously, I don't have Mira. Do I really need to explain why I don't have her? Where is my boy Tamura Morrison? Why didn't they do a pop for him? Why they could have replaced Mira for Tamura Morrison. Yeah, the dad, because they have the mom. Why not just?
To be fair, he's kind of boring. He's just an old guy
who owns a lighthouse. That's it.
And gets stabbed at some point.
Yeah. And, well, he was taking care of the baby when.
Maybe they're okay. Yeah, have him and the baby as the pop.
Exactly. Oh yeah, that will be a great pop. Yes. But let's show you what we do have. Why don't we start off with the one that I have out of box? This is. I can't even carry it. This is Aquaman on Storm. Not the X-Men, but the Seahorse.
Every time you say Storm, it just reminds me of the X-Men, so it's kind of...
And this was only in the montage and the final sequence that this actually happened.
Looks cool.
I agree.
You gotta stop speaking like Santos.
I think this is cool.
Okay, a little bit more specific. What about it?
Alright, Trident's neat. It's... Waves are alright, although there wouldn't be waves because he's in the water.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Seahorse Storm is a boat.
Yeah. This is a boat of Storm. It's not actually the Seahorse.
Yeah. I think it's pretty solid. This was a movie moment pop. I think it was like, I forgot how much it was, like $25. So it was not that bad for this. It's just a hair more expensive than the normal pops, which is fair because they have a bunch of other details.
Oh, this is much better than a normal pop in terms of quality.
Speaking of normal pop, here is Storm just by himself.
Is Storm supposed to be his?
I don't even know if he has a gender. Compare this to this one.
Well, of course, this one's better.
Look how tiny Storm is. Very tiny in here. Storm's like kind of tiny, and then he's like significantly bigger here.
Oh no! I guess the budget was higher for this one when they were designing this. But yeah, Storm is very basic. I honestly think he looks cool, but the position he's in, like on the box, it really looked like he was just gonna stand straight up, and that was it. But then you can see they actually positioned him on an angle in the packaging, so you can actually see him kind of on an angle. So you're just not you just don't have a seahorse face just looking into your soul. Let's do the antagonist. Let's do Black Manta. I do not have the original Black Manta, by the way. I would like to disclose that. But Santos said his helmet looks a lot smaller here. Except for the pop, because I guess Funko Pops have big heads in general, so...
Oh, just a generic pose.
Is his head wider than other Funkos? I think so.
Well, Funkos have big heads in general.
Yeah, but his is wider, right? It's like a sharp... It's very red eyes.
You know, it'd be cool if they did an exclusive of the laser coming out of his eyes.
Although, hopefully it doesn't look like that Cyclops.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's like... if you watch our X-Men Soda unboxing video to understand. Queen Atlantea. Brandon, why don't you show this one? She didn't really do much in this movie, did she?
She is moral support.
Yeah, she's really just moral support.
Moral support
and lore provider, because a lot of stuff Aquaman didn't even know about, and she was the one to explain it to him.
She's a figurehead. She helps the dad heal. She's like kisses the dad. Nice crown, although the ears look kind of funny. Although I don't think there's ears. Those are just that's just hair.
Yeah, just hair. They're trying to make it look like she's underwater. The hair flowing.
She looks like an elf. The hair makes it look like elf ears.
Fair enough. Okay. Orm is up next. Not Ocean Master, just Orm.
Ocean Man.
Ocean Man? You want ahead?
Does he wear this suit in the movie? I don't remember.
I don't think
in the final battle, the final fight.
Purple suit. It's a purple suit.
In the final fight, Doesn't
it look like Hulkbuster a little?
Kind of.
It looks a little bit like the Hulkbuster because it's purple.
The Hulkbuster's red.
No, but the pose he's doing kind of looks like Hulkbuster. This is the original Orm from the first movie. I bought this out of box. As you can see, the trident is completely bent up. But this is what happens when you pay $3 for a pop. $3 whole.
We can't see his expression in the helmet.
Well, the top one looks angrier. Like, the eyebrows make him look angry, doesn't it?
The top one looks better, though. Besides the bent trident.
Yeah, why is the trident like...
I guess the previous owner just did not take good care of this pop.
I think the trident's supposed to be like that.
Bent?
Like, I don't think they bent it. They were cracked, right?
So they use a heat gun.
I don't think they would ever do that. Why would you put in the effort to make it look worse?
I don't know.
I think it's just their design. His trident's literally a pool noodle.
Okay, so you think the original is better than the new one?
Yeah.
Except the armor. The armor is better, but get rid of that trident. The new one looks better overall, though. Minus the trident, I would prefer the new one, but overall, this one's nicer.
Let's talk about Jason Momoa himself. As you can see, I have two exclusives. One of them is a diamond glitter pop exclusive to Amazon. So this is the common. It's the same pose as the common one. This one is a Target exclusive, but I got it from GameStop. And this is basically Aquaman creating a little tsunami with the trident.
I don't think he ever does that in the movie.
So, looking at the two pops, what do you guys think? They're kind of different in their own way.
The Funko exclusive looks better because there's like a unique base that he's standing on.
Like the water?
Yeah.
The other one doesn't have a base. It's just glittery. Yeah, the glitter is kind of a gimmick.
So you think the Target one's better than the Amazon one?
Whatever, the one without the glitter.
So this one where he's creating a tsunami.
Yeah.
All the pops from this lineup, excluding the old Orm, which one is your favorite?
I'll say this one. I just knocked something over.
There goes Orm. Well, yeah. Okay. What was yours, Santos?
Yeah, the same one.
Well, I think we are at the end of this review. I've looked at the time. We're reaching the 1 hour and 30-minute mark of this review, so it is officially longer than the Marvels because we had a lot more to say in this movie than the Marvels. So Obviously, if you want to see a more edited down version of this review, there will be a edited down version of this review coming on the main channel, so you can see that it'll be just be done as a video. As for now, not a triumphant ending for the DCEU, but I look forward to see what James Gunn has in store with the reboots. I guess that remains to be seen. But for now, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching to this episode of Podcast with Mark45. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more. And make sure to turn on the bell if you don't want to miss any episode the second it comes out. And be sure to give us a follow on Spotify. And let us know in the comment what you think of this movie. I'm curious to hear your opinions. Did you guys like it? Did you guys hate it? I feel like I'm going to start a storm with this question. But that remains to be seen. As for now, catch us on future episodes coming very soon. We have a lot cooking up for you guys, including our first guest episode that we're going to be filming next week. As for now, that's it for this episode, and we'll see you in the next one.